Hey GolfPass, Chris Como here, and we're going to talk short game. A good friend of mine and a great short game coach, Derek Dominski, has what he calls the 9-shot drill. And when I saw him talk about this, it actually reminded me a lot of what Tiger would do in his practice, which is to hit a bunch of different shots from the same place with the same club. So the way Derek describes it as the 9-shot drill, he's taking ends of the spectrum of shots and techniques that you would have in a short game. So for example, one version would be having very little handle motion and a lot of wrist set to hit a shot. That'd be one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum would be extremely wide and no wrist set, almost like a Jason Day or a Steve Stricker type motion. So those would be two ends of the spectrum in terms of how much the handle travels. Then from there, he would say, okay, you got to hit one straight shot with very little handle travel, one draw with very little handle travel, one cut with very little handle travel. Then go to the other end of the spectrum. One wide shot straight, one wide shot draw, one wide shot cut. Then you would go neutral, sort of somewhere in between the two. Not quite a lot of set, not super wide, somewhere in the middle, straight, somewhere in the middle with draw, somewhere in the middle with cut. So these things are going to really make your brain basically be a robust problem solver around the greens. That way, if you have different lies or whatever, you can kind of just get in there and be like, okay, it needs a little bit more angle, so I got to have a little bit more wrist set, or it's sort of more of a sweeping shot, so I can have a wider angle on it, or I want to get this feel of wide with a little bit of cut. It really just makes it to where you have no blind spots in your short game. So right now, we're just going to go through a couple of them. I'm going to do this almost no handle motion, very wristy. And we're going to do this with what feels like a draw. Okay, so just kind of drew that in there. Now I'm going to do very wristy and what feels like a cut. Okay, kind of cut that in there. I'm going to do extremely wide. This is the Steve Stricker Jason Day motion with a draw. Oh, and I hit a little fat. Okay, so now all of a sudden I got to figure out if I'm going to go wide and I'm going to draw, what else do I need to do? I think I would need to get my chest maybe a little bit farther ahead of it. Okay, now I'm going to go wide with a cut. And that was actually pretty good. Okay, it's a little short, but it had a lot of spin on it. So what this is an exercise. This is not to say, oh, I'm trying to hit every ball super close. This is an exercise for your brain to start to become a really great problem solver and be like, oh, if I have more width, I need to do this. If I have a little bit more angle in the handle, I need to do that. If you can spend some time, some of your practice time doing this, then when you get on the course, different lies, different situations that you maybe didn't practice on the putting green don't seem so daunting, because you're like, oh, I just need a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you're going to be better prepared to deal with those sort of unforeseeable situations around the green when you're actually on the course. Spend some of your time, your practice time doing this, and it will help you become a better overall problem solver around the green, better short game artist. I encourage you to do it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Try this out next time you practice.